If you've ever been knocked down, counted out, or found yourself in the dark night of the soul, this episode is a reminder that you're not only standing, you're rising. Because when life tries to bury you, friend, it doesn't realize that you are a seed. It doesn't know, or better yet, it doesn't realize that you are a phoenix. And all it's doing is giving you the space to rise from the ashes. Today's episode is about resilience. I emerge through adversity, resilient, and grateful. Are you ready? Get set. Let's grow. Beautiful friends, welcome back to another episode of From the Ground to the Crown, a podcast community where we grow with intention, elevate our mindset, and step into our highest self unapologetically. I'm your girl, your host, Kenesha B, and as always, I'm so grateful that you're here with me. As you can see, we're not in the studio. I'm actually recording from Vietnam today, which is pretty cool. Dean and I have been out here for a few weeks while we are awaiting our long-term visas for Thailand. And so I didn't pack all my things, but shout out to my sis Alicia and the community here in Da Nang, Vietnam for showing us so much love because I was able to use her space and use her mic to get this done today. So really, really grateful for that. Let's get into today's episode. I don't have the card for the affirmation, but I do know the affirmation, and it is resilient. And the affirmation is, I emerge through adversity, resilient and grateful. So let's talk about resilience really quickly, because it's not about just bouncing back, right? Resilience is about becoming. It's about the evolution of who you are and the fact that you're not doing it by yourself. Everyone, at some point in time, if they are living on this plane, this earth, they are going to be tested in their resilience. They're going to either flourish in it and really make it through it, or they won't be here anymore. That's really what this is. Because resilience is not just a word, it's really a spiritual practice. Every single time life has tried to crush me and really get me, it has awakened something deeper within me, within my soul. And I become a different version of myself because of what I've just gone through, what I've just experienced. And most of the time, it's definitely not because I want to. Life be lifing. It's because I had to. I have to evolve. I have to practice this resilience. And like I said, resilience is a spiritual practice because we don't always want to be resilient. Sometimes we just want to chill. But the universe and life has other plans for us. And when I started to piece it together, what I recognize is that this is Earth school. Life is just a school. Earth is just a school building. It's a classroom for many of us. And when you go through something, you are just in a class. So there's grief class, there's pain class, there's love class and betrayal class. There are just these classes, and you're just a student of life. And this is the school of the hard knocks, because some of us don't listen. Some of us don't get it. Right? But life doesn't care about any of that. As long as you're here and you're alive, you are in school. And the moment that you think you aren't going to make it, the moment that you think this is too much for me, you end up making it. And you end up passing the class. And you end up graduating. And when you truly evolve, you end up going to middle school, and you go to, or secondary school, and you go to high school, and you go to college, right? And so we're just really evolving through life school, through Earth school, and we're taking all these classes. And as you get through it, you build this resilience within yourself that turns you up and forces you to become a different version of yourself, because it is preparing you for the thing that you don't see. It's preparing you for the next class. It's preparing you for the next grade and the next school and the next set of friends and all these things. And we're not just here to survive it. We're here to learn through it. We're here to evolve in it. We're also here to make friends. And that's not the primary thing, which some of us tend to forget. But we are really here to build this sense of ourselves, to really help our souls evolve so that whatever is after this, so that we're prepared for that, So in this episode, the ism is, if it don't kill you, it's meant to rebuild you. That's it. And I know it's a little twirl, a little razzle dazzle on the ism. If it don't kill you, it makes you stronger, because it does, but it also rebuilds you, right? It's it tears you down to bring you into a new and improved and bigger, bolder version of yourself. And I love that for us. I love that we get to go to school here, because what else would you be doing here? Let's get into the fact that resilience is the art of dying and being reborn. And not in Jesus' resurrection way, but like Phoenix rising from the ashes. Some of us don't have the privilege of going through tough things early on in life. And I say it's a privilege because at a young age, when you become resilient because you've gone through many things, it prepares you for a lot of adulthood. And I know that there are parents who want their children to be really, really safe. I think every parent does. But sometimes it hinders children from learning lessons that helps them build resiliency, so that when they do become adults, they have these skills. They have this thing about them, this assurance in them that they're going to make it. And I was fortunate enough and privileged enough to go through a lot of hard shit growing up. And it built me up very, very early on, which was, now looking back, such a blessing to my life, because I know that everyone didn't have the same privilege that I had to build this muscle in me. And so now as an adult, I do go through tough things often, but I don't think I'm gonna die when it comes. I know it's gonna be tough. I know it's gonna be a test. I know I'm in school. I get these things. And so I'm able to look at it and know that in myself, clearly I've got all the tools already, because I don't believe that you get lessons that you're not prepared for. I believe you get lessons to remind you that you have the tools, and to see what you do now that you're there, now that you are in the class. How are you going to use the tools to pass the class? And it's not like you have to sit and wonder, do I have it? No, if it comes your way, then you're prepared for it, because God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle already. But he will test to see if you have the faith. He will test to see if you believe in yourself enough to go through it. He will test to see if you listened the last time you got the lesson, or got the test, because clearly you didn't if you're getting it twice, And so a lot of resilience is remembering that you have the tools to make it through anything that comes your way, which is why you don't die. You get reborn. You become again. And that is all this is just a constant form of becoming. Okay, friends, let's get into Root and Rise. And if you're new here, this is a segment of the podcast where we take a thought that once had us stuck, we dig deep into the root of it, and then elevate it to a crown perspective so that we can look at things differently. Because life changes you. And in those moments, you really see people differently. You really see yourself differently and the things around you, but you really see community differently. And that's always something to take note of. And then the third question is, what emotions did you suppress, or do you suppress or avoid that still linger from those old experiences that you've had? Because sometimes when we go through tough things, we don't want to talk about it anymore. We want it to just be done. We want to have gotten through it, and then we don't want to remember it. But the body remembers things. The mind captures everything. And so you do yourself a disservice when you don't work through it, because you never truly let it go. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this, because I think that as we unpack things that try to break us, what we recognize is that it's just teaching you your cheat code. And I am like an investigator when it comes to myself. I delve into myself deeply. I'm like a self-studying girl, because I believe that when I learn the recipe to who I am and the cheat code to the experiences that I have, I'm able to navigate life with so much more ease. For example, grief is a class that you're going to take multiple times in this life. It comes with the territory of being alive with other people on this earth. And you don't even have to experience grief when people die. You experience grief when you lose friends who are alive. You experience grief with pets. You experience and grieve jobs and opportunities that you lost or moved away from. It's just a part of it all. And so knowing that I am going to be in constant relation to grief as long as I'm alive, I've had to learn my cheat code for what I need to do for myself when I'm experiencing grief. Sometimes I need to take a break. I just don't want to be involved. I don't want to be a part of it. I need silence and stillness a lot more than usual. And so when I am grieving, I don't turn to drugs or alcohol. I don't suppress it and hold it in. I tap out. I sit my ass down somewhere. I go on vacation and just not. I sit in the house until I'm ready to come back out, because that is my cheat code for grieving. That is how I'm moving through it. When I am sad, I cry. I love crying. I love it. I enjoy it so much. One, because I understand that it's just like a natural bodily function. It's like peeing, but for your eyes, which is pretty weird to say. But it's just normal to cry. It is an okay, normal bodily function. And so when I am sad, yeah, you're going to see some tears. That is how I move through my sadness. And I think it's important to examine these questions, like what situation felt like it could break you, and who or what helped you when you were close to giving up. What emotions did you suppress or avoid that still linger? It's important to examine these things so that you can pick up on the lessons that you missed. Because one thing's for certain, two things for sure. When you don't learn the lesson, life gonna spin a block on you real quick. You're gonna get it again until you figure it out. Because you cannot get to the next class, next grade, if you didn't pass the class. Like you can't get to 201 if you didn't pass 101. Or you can't get to 102 if you can't do that. You're just cheating. And people think that they can cheat life, but that's not how this works. It just doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be able to go through things, and you want to be able to look back and say, man, I thought that really was going to be the one for me. And I know I talk about this personally for myself often. I thought that my grandma's death was really going to be the one for me, because I'd never experienced grief like that. Like someone really close to me, someone who I love so deeply, who is still my person. I never thought that I could make it through that, but I did. And I learned the cheat code for how I deal when I'm grieving a loved one through that experience. And I look back at it and I can talk about it now, and I know who helped me and what helped me. And so the next time I meet grief in that way, when I'm dealing with the loss of a loved one, I'll pull from the lessons that I learned in that situation. I don't just sweep up the ashes and throw them away. No, I want to examine, okay, when did I get to my breaking point? What was the thing that made me feel like I couldn't do it anymore? Did I speak positively to myself? Was I being negative? Who showed up for me? Who was silent? You know? What did I do? Did I put my all into work? Did I become recluse and dial it all the way back? I am I'm a professor of self studying because it's really important to know yourself enough so that when you go through these classes in Earth School, right, you're able to know how to pass the test because you have the understanding that it's coming again and you're just here waiting for it. So when you meet these moments and you have these things that come up, these experiences that you feel like will break you, you meet it and you say, "What's up? I know you're here. What are we learning today?" You know? And you're not looking at it like, "Oh, here come betrayal again. Man, here comes sadness again. Ugh, not another love story." You are just open to it because you know that this is what it is. And that's a beautiful space to be in. That's where we're all elevating to, or we should be. And so, like I said, examine those questions and ask yourself these things so that you're able to process your experiences. So yeah, it's important to be able to look back at these things and know your dark places because they are a part of life. And there will be seasons that feel like everything is falling apart, but you'll always be able to look back at those seasons and recognize that things were actually falling together. Because once you make it through it, you realize if it didn't kill you, it was there to rebuild you. That's what that is. So ask yourself these questions. I'm always here to chat through it with you. So if you want to share, comment below, send me a DM on social, send me a text message. I'm just always interested in what comes up when we do the introspection work for ourselves. Now that we got through that, let's get into the rise segment of this. And this is really about the evolution of yourself and recognizing that you're not just a survivor here. You are literally an architect of your evolution. Okay, so let's move on to the rise segment of the episode because I really want us to get to a point where we recognize that if you're still here, you're not just a survivor. You're like an architect of your evolution. You really built yourself here. And resilience was the thing that you used to get there. It is resilience with gratitude. Like, not, "Oh my God, thank you that I've experienced so much grief," but my goodness, thank you that I get these experiences to know that I can make it through grief. Right? Thank you for the experiences that remind me that I am a resilient being, that I emerge through adversity resilient and grateful. I think that is the architect of your evolution. That's the mindset of an architect. And I really want to encourage you to look at yourself in that way so that the next time, because there will be a next time, the next time you are reminded that you are in Earth School, you won't have to look at it with such disdain for the experience. You will understand that it is just a part of your architectural design, right? It's a part of your evolution. Here are the 3 questions that I would like for us to look at and examine for the rise part of this segment. What strengths were born in your hardest seasons? I can tell you right now, babe, for me, I am a straight shooter. I have had so many experiences where I've let people dictate my life, tell me who I was and who I am, tell me what I won't and will not do. And I have felt the regret of each and every one of those moments. Each and every one where I let an opportunity slip by because I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I was worthy of. I ate that regret and never let it happen again. Once I decided that that was it for me, once I made it through that class, I built a muscle. And it's so funny that I'm saying this because here in Vietnam, just like quick thing, here in Vietnam, we were on a beach and we were playing a game with some new friends that we made. And one of the things that came up was like, what was your first impression? And one of the girls here said that what she picked up from me was that I like am a leader and that I know myself and I'm clear on it and I tell people who I am. And I was like, yes, thanks, girl. Okay. People like me or they don't. It's very clear to them and it's very clear to me. And I love that for me because I don't like wasting my time. I don't want to engage with people who don't want to engage with me. I don't want people to be unsure about me. If you know me, you are sure why you're my friend. You're sure why you're in relation with me. You're clear about it. It's like no confusion. I don't live in confusion. I've passed that class already. I live in clarity. And I'm a very clear person and I move accordingly. And so having someone who's a stranger, who's only known me for days, see that in me was such a blessing to hear because it meant that I learned the lessons and I was doing things right still, you know? And so look at the strengths that were born within you, the things that you've now learned that came about in your hardest seasons. The next question is, what are you doing today that your old self never would have imagined? I can't say that myself wouldn't have imagined me traveling because I always knew that I wasn't going to be in the US forever. But I don't think my old self would have imagined me being so flexible and so free. I was such a rigid person. I was studying to be a lawyer and a judge. And so things were very black and white for me growing up. It either was or it wasn't, right? There was no gray, there was no color, there was no ombre. It just is or it isn't. Is it the law or is it illegal? That was it for me. But as I persevered and became more resilient and made it through all the things, I recognized that life is colorful as hell. And it doesn't do me any good to look at life in black and white only. It's so whack. Shit is boring. And I didn't want to do that anymore. And so my old self never would have imagined how colorful I could see life, how I could appreciate or just respect things that I don't agree with. I don't even care about, but I don't mind. I get it. Or it doesn't bother me. And so whatever, I can watch it and listen to it. And, if it don't apply, I let it fly. I would have never imagined that I would be this person today. And that was born out of the hardest times, life showing me time and time again that it's not that black and white. There is gray area because we are human. There is color because there's so many variables that play a part to every experience that we're having. And it's not just about me, And I had to learn that through the shit that I went through. And so again, practicing that gratitude, being thankful for those lessons because I love who I am today. I love what I get to do today because people like me around them. They like that I'm flexible, that I'm free, and I remind them that they are as well. And that to me is a beautiful gift. So yeah, I never would have imagined I'd be here today, but here I am. All right. And then the third question is, how can you honor your resilience by showing up differently now? This one for me is like I honor my resilience by reminding people of theirs. People go through shit and it sucks. It sucks to hear about. It sucks to watch. It sucks to be a part of. We're all going through things. But in those moments when people are telling me what they're going through and telling me who they are, and sometimes they don't even have to tell me because I'm empathic enough to feel it, I remind them of the strength. I remind them that as long as they have breath, they have options. and that there's something here that is going to help rebuild, reshape, and evolve them to a new, higher level, a higher version of themselves, right? Even on this podcast, From the Ground to the Crown is all about evolving to the highest version of yourself unapologetically, because you believe and you know that you went through all that shit and you deserve to feel like, yes, I could do it because you did it. I am a reminder for people that, yeah, you did that. And I love being that version. I honor that version of myself and my resilience by reminding people of their resilience. So ask yourself those things so that you can recognize that you experience pain and you experience hurt and sadness and you experience, these emotions that come with being here, but it didn't kill you. And it didn't just shape you. It refined you. Is that it? Refined? Yeah, it refined you, right? It made you more chiseled. It made you bolder. It made you brighter. And it made you a higher version of yourself. And literally, that is graduation here, is to graduate to the highest version of yourself. And so that when you leave here, your soul has all these, it collected all the lessons and it's got all the A's in classes, and you're good. Because you're not leaving here with nobody else. Just you. It's like your soul is by itself and that is it. And so when you, again, just like take into account all the things that you've been through that didn't kill you, all the things that you made it through, the things that you're grateful that you experienced, the people who made it with you, even those that didn't, be grateful for them too. They served a purpose, right? And so when you can do all of that, you remind yourself that, yeah, that I'm resilient. You don't even have to be reminded sometimes. It just feels like. And that is such a gift because everyone doesn't have that. I didn't have any specific story for this episode because I've told so many of my personal stories, but I would love to hear some of yours. I want to hear what you've been through. I want to hear the thing that you thought was going to kill you that didn't, or break you that didn't. I want to hear what emotions you're still holding on to. And are you trying to work through those? Are you suppressing it still? Because we know that suppressing emotions leads to dis-ease. That is literally what dis-ease is. If you look up any disease that you have, it's probably tied to like a spiritual aspect of yourself, something that you're suppressing or holding on to. And not just disease, any illness, colds, ear infection, toothache, you name it. There is an element of spirituality running through it that you can directly tie it to. And so I encourage you that when you're going through things, to not hold those things into the body, because this machine needs freedom. It needs nourishment and it needs hydration and sleep and all those beautiful things. But it doesn't need to hold on to your shit. It needs you to let it go so that it could be lighter and that it can evolve, right? And so be okay turning into those ashes because you've got faith that you are going to be the phoenix that rises from it every time. Be okay with that. Remind yourself, if it doesn't kill you, it's meant to rebuild you. It's here to rebuild you. It is not trying to take you out. It is trying to teach you a lesson. And when you're open, you get to learn it. So don't be closed. Also, just getting back to the affirmation, I emerge through adversity resilient and grateful. If you've been watching this podcast, you know how often I talk about gratitude because it is just a thing. It's such a big thing for every affirmation that we'll talk about, for every moment, for every day. You have to have gratitude for it all. It is the only way. And so I hope that you remind yourself that you emerge through adversity resilient and grateful. I want to challenge you. Write a letter to the version of you who endured the hardest thing. Tell them thank you. Think about whatever experience that was, even if it doesn't feel good right now, even if it hurts a little bit to think about. Write a letter to that version who endured that tough stuff. Thank them, honor them, and then decide whether you want to burn it or keep it. It is such a spiritual gift to let that go, to like take that off of you, to unload that burden by burning or keeping or whatever, but by honoring the past versions of yourself who helped you get to yourself today. But if we're not able to talk about it or even meet it, then we're stuck there. And that's what trauma is, being stuck with versions of yourself that you're no longer, because you haven't integrated it into who you are today. And we don't need that. Life is tough enough. It's a lot of shit going on outside, and we don't need no extra added layers of crazy, okay? So if you're going through something right now, I'm encouraging you to listen to this episode so that you can remind yourself of how resilient you are. You are going to make it. You're going to be okay. You've got people here. You're not by yourself. You got me. I'm always here for you. All you got to do is let me know. I'm going through something right now and it's a lot. And you don't got to tell me all your business. I'm cool. I don't share secrets, okay? So you can or you don't have to. But I want to be able to support you enough. And so, yeah, reach out. But write yourself that letter. Write that version of yourself that letter and see how you feel. I would love to hear about it. Like I said, friends, I didn't have a long story for this episode. I just really wanted to talk through resilience with you, to remind you that as long as you are here and you're alive and you're growing and aging, that means a lot. That means you got this shit. That means that you are not down bad. You didn't die. You made it. And that's to be celebrated. And so I hope you celebrate yourself. All right, friends, that's it for this episode. If it stirred something in you, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Please engage with From the Ground to the Crown and the podcast community. And not just on YouTube. Head over to Instagram and join me over there. If you comment below, I'll send you the link to my intimate Instagram community for the podcast. And it's a free community on Instagram. And I just share a little bit more there and ask questions there and, engage with my community differently over there. So if you want to join, just comment below and I'll share that with you. Or you can find me on IG. My handle is @It'sKenishaB. And I am growing the page for the podcast. So I would love for you to like and like and follow me on Instagram for the podcast. And the handle is the number 2 The Crown Pod. That is 2 The Crown Pod. So connect with me over there. Leave a review if this podcast has reminded you of who you are, right? Leave a review if it just did something in you today. All of your reviews and feedback helps me to keep this podcast community growing and helps me to keep showing up for y'all. And so I'm grateful for those that leave reviews for me. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Watch me weekly on YouTube, Spotify. Listen to me on Apple Podcasts. I'm so grateful for y'all. And share this episode with your resilient crew. The people who really help you go through things. Share this with them and thank them for showing up for you in some of the toughest times. Go with this. Don't judge yourself. Have grace for yourself for all that you're going through and all that you've been through. And remind yourself that you are a phoenix, always rising from the ashes, always capable, and always resilient. I emerge through adversity with resilience and gratitude. Tell yourself that 3 times today and turn up. That's it. I'm out of here. Until next time, friends. Ready, get set, let's grow.